Greetings, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? Let's see. Let's get everything to look right. Here. So I've been doing a lot of fun stuff inside of the next library. I'm going to bring some elements from that into this. Let's first bring a cool pad. This is from Cloud City. Let's bring Violin Rains. These are environmental plus synthesis. Let's do this. Since it's got that high energy, we go to the pump house. But instead of this effect, I want it to be more of a pump. I half times it. So I want 2, so let's double click. Okay, you're jumping a little too soon. Maybe we'll add another one, make it like almost like a shaker. All I'm doing is double clicking to add extra nodes to Pump House. And I can change the curvature for, do I want that third element? I'm going to be short. That's better. Now, the other stuff I've been working really hard on is up here are all these drum grooves. And later on in the stream, let me make sure that the stream is happening because I'm assuming you will be there. Hello. Hello. Good to see you all. Welcome. Ken, Sunday workshop, word cover. I'm trying to read these with bright light in my face. Dan Dibble, Darren, Ives, Darren. Good to see you all. Welcome. Make sure I got my audio right. So check this out. I brought over the drums from guitar from MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. I just love them. And they're gonna work really cool with these organic kind of sounds. So let's add drums from guitar number 5, see what we get. That's a good vibe. Now what I have done since that is I have made a drum kit called the Signs of Life SE drum kit because there's an OG from the original one that was included with Omnisphere. I included that too, but this is groove number, let's take a look, make sure I remember it, number 5. So I now have this drum kit and I've made complementary drum grooves that work with those grooves. Right? Let's check my levels. Am I distorting? A little bit. Let's bring it down. Everybody down just a little bit. Now I can't include this as a bonus patch yet, of course, because this library is not even out, and I'm using the two together. But you get the idea of what. So just to explain what I'm doing, because I tend to do stuff and kind of forget that a lot of you guys can't follow along as fast as I'm moving. There's a guitar patch with a whole bunch of really cool, well, first of all, there's the guitar from MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. And this is with the BLISS layer. And it's a Unify layer. So anytime you see Unify in a layer, you can double click that and it will open up that plugin of Unify. And this is the guitar. And then right here where it says BLISS effects is just the BLISS effects by itself, so you can hit solo. So if I wanted to, I could make, just show you how fun it is. Let's add that. Now, below this is a patch called Blissful Fairies. And it's because it has these little blissful elements. They're just playing along and kind of chirping along. Right? Now I'm gonna bring in by turning on solo for the top layer so I get the BLISS guitar, but just the effect, I don't have the guitar in there. I'm kind of showing you how you can play around and deconstruct these libraries. So I could go over to another library that you all should have because it's free. This is a Spitfire Labs. And I could say piano in the search. And here's all these pianos. So let's go up here to like maybe the Philip Glass piano. And we got instrument one only. So I can just click this and turn on solo. And now I have the Philip Glass piano added to my modified version of Blissful Fairies. And then what I also showed you in this was I added a pad. From Signs of Life. This is a library I'm working on right now. It's going to come out 2 weeks from yesterday, a couple days ago. So it's going to be on the 28th, I believe is the day I'm going to release it. I want enough time. I just about have all my sound sources together. I want like at least a week and a half or so to make patches for you guys using this stuff to turn normal things into, you know, turn this into something like this and add things to it. And then I added 2 grooves. There's a drum groove, which is the drums from guitar, which I'm adding and including in Signs of Life. And then I have a whole new drum groove, like we just solo it. So later on in this live stream, we're gonna make some more complementary drum grooves to go along with existing drums from guitar grooves. I'll show you in Logic how I'm doing it. It's really, really fun. But you can get really great results from like combining different kits. Maybe I'll give you some ideas on that. And let's take the piano down an octave. Here's my transpose box, right? Hold down Option and click and drag down, and it goes down an octave. So now it's an octave lower for the piano. Right? So, all sorts of fun stuff. Now, I do kind of want to save this pads rain. I want to play with this. Add some things to this in the future, right? So, I'm going to show you a cool trick. I'm going to take this layer, because the rest of it I really don't need to keep. I mean, it's existing patches and so forth, but this is a new thing I want to play with and explore. So I moved it to layer 1 slot. And I did that because if you hold down Option or Alt on your PC and you click Init, boom, it deletes everything but layer 1. So you can take an element that you've worked on that you like, and if you want just that one element to save it out so you can use it in other things in the future, move it to the 1 slot, then use Option and Init to remove. Now I just have this. And I'm going to save this into Signs of Life, library, Signs of Life SE. I'm going to call it BPM, pad, and this is violin, rains, work in progress. So I'm going to just have it as a work in progress. WIP is my name I give patches so I know that I'm working on. It's something I need to, I can't release it like that. It's not going to work just as it is. But that way, if I go down here to the BPM pads, you'll see here's violin rains, work in progress. If I set my load mode just to normal, I can just click and it just loads the same thing. So now I could play around. I could add all these other things. I could go to the pads just to show you. Let's make really quickly a cool. Now we're going into the rhythmic direction. So I'm going to take this pad and I'm going to just kind of do a couple of things. I'm going to first go over here and I'm going to say replace the embedded with only instrument 1. what that does is I loaded it as a Unify layer, which means it has this. It has an auxiliary effect layer. It's got master effects. I don't really need all of that. I just want layer 1, right? Because it's just one layer patch. Well, we have this really cool ability to toggle between being a Unify layer, or it's like this, and it gets rid of everything but the Unify layer. Or if I click this again, I can move it into an embedded Unify if I wanted then to add stuff to that layer and like add other patches and so forth. It's really cool to have this feature right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Guru Sampler, and instead of being a pad, I'll move the sample start later so it starts faster. I'm going to bring down the release time, sustain down. I want some sort of a dancey, plucky, fun thing like that, right? So I'm going to go over here to the MIDI effects on this layer, go to Unify Standard, Arpeggios, Blue Arp. And I'm just going to push this button a whole bunch of times. I have no idea where it's going to end. We're going to get up to like, let's say 45. 1 and 45. It's got these octave down things. Let's bring some. And I want to go to velocity. Let's do this. Maybe I need to modify my patch a little bit. Maybe I want it to be a little bit snappier. So here's this cool trick that I do. I go to a custom LFO shape, and I can now make any shape I want, and I want it to be super snappy like this. And I'm gonna go to my hertz and make this really fast. I need to set this to 1 shot and unipolarity so it doesn't go below pitch. And I go to pitch. Hear that little snappy transient? I can make it slower by just slowing down the LFO. And maybe I wanted to do some more inside of Blue Arp. I want to play some chords every now and then or something like that. Maybe be random. Right now it's playing this little cadence. It's looking at the notes that I'm playing. But if you go to step type, you can say chord. And I'm going to do a random. So I'm messing it up a little bit. Now that I've done that, I'm going to speed this back up a little bit snappier. I like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. And after this Blue Arp, I'm going to do one of my fun tricks of using a jitterbox. And instead of like if we play it now, we're going to have random delayed of the. We don't really want that. So if you go here to your jitter options, you'll see that you actually have quantize as an option. I'm going to go 8th notes. And then I can actually force it to be quantized so it's not just random to any possible value. It's going to be just simple times. Let's say 8th notes. And then I want to move this to give me the full range so it could be possibly the 8th before the note, same 8th note, or the 8th note after the note. So now I've got 3 different possible toggles that it will randomly place each note in time. And if I pan this left and right, I now get this really fun dancing thing. And I want to emphasize the tonality of this first layer a little bit. So I'm going to use Noise Box to do like an EQ trick. Let's bring this up. I'm going to hit those higher frequencies. Bounce it back in with the full sound. There. See how without noise box, it's flat? But with noise box, I'm EQing distortion that's only allowed to play in the high frequencies. And it becomes air. It's really cool. And then I can go to a trick with the filter. If I bring up the Q, I can find a sweet spot where it's emphasizing the air frequencies. And let's get one more solid kind of thing in here. Let's do, I really like Cape Sire. So let's say low, just instrument one layer. Let's take it up an octave. Let's get to be a little bit more responsive. So let's bring down the release a little bit. So this is how we build patches inside of Unify. Instead of it working in the terms of like a synthesizer with 4 oscillators, I've made a 4 oscillator patch, but I'm using 4 different synthesizers to create the same result as a 4 oscillator patch. But each dude has its own resources. It can have its own effects, its own EQs, its own insert effect chain, all sorts of things of any length I want. And if I wasn't making this just for Unify, if you were doing this, you could use any of your effects inside of each of these insert effect slots and stuff. So this is the power of Unify, is that it's an out-of-the-box concept for programming. I've programmed so many synthesizers that I'm tired of those limitations. And so Unify opens up to where you don't have to have those same limitations. If I want different arpeggiators and an LFO, I don't have to share the same resources and have, on most synthesizers, you call up an arpeggio pattern, the whole thing has to play to that arpeggio pattern, right? Here, I've got 2 different arpeggio patterns on 2 oscillators. I've got a nice solid pad, and I've got a cool pulse. So I can go farther. I don't have to worry about polyphony because each one of these layers, each one of these has 64 voices of polyphony, so they're not sharing the same pool. It's really cool. So I'm going to say this as a, let's get rid of modified because it's still a work in progress. It's not done. I'm not going to worry about the name for it right now, but that's programming, All right, so we have a lot to do today. I hope you all are doing well. Let me just see. Cool. Hey, Wavesequencer is here. So let's start there. We have 3 synthesizers, well, 2 synthesizers and an audio effect to show you guys today that are new. And since Wavesequencer is here, he is a mad genius behind, if you've ever heard of Hyperion, it is a wonderfully, interestingly complex power station, kind of like Unify in a way. Let's see if we go Wavesequencer. Actually, it's available at traction.com. I think it's also available on his own wavesequencer.com website. But here is Thea. And what he's basically done is realizing a lot of you guys aren't really interested in, I don't know if you've seen the interface to Hyperion, but if we go over here and open this up in a new tab, if we go to Traction, come down here, you can see Hyperion. It's super flexible. The power of it is great, but it does require, in some ways, it's kind of like Combo Box. You see this interface, how you're dragging lines between things. You have all these elements that can be doing really powerful. I mean, it takes a little bit of, you got to have that brain concept. It's fun to explore with. I don't own Hyperion myself at this point. I think Wavesequencer might hook me up. But he has taken this and turned it into basically a player version. And right now, if you go to buy, it's, let's see where we are. I hit buy. I hit buy. It should take, here we go, $39 for I think there's like 587 patches. We've unified the patches too. So you can already start playing with it. So let me show you Thea. So if we come down here to the unified version of Thea, you will see all of the patches. Oh wait, that's the unified standard library. Sorry, I missed one more up. 587 patches. And it's really cool. He's got a lot of stuff like Debussy. He's into the wave station, obviously, right? And wave sequencing and so forth. He actually has done a new version. Oh, wait, I've got it set to Unify layer. Let's go normal. Here is Thea with kind of like a new take on the Debussy on wheels. And here's the interface. First time I've loaded it, so it's taking a second, I guess. Hello. There we go. And I'm dealing with the release version of Unify you guys have. Just so you know, Shane has been like Bob the Builder with like a hard hat on, dealing with solving all of these glitching with the newer Apple processors. And we actually have a beta that is incredibly solid. It's just sitting down here, just tripping away at nothing. But it has some other issues we got to fix. And so I'm not showing that today to you guys. So just know that this behavior, because what Apple did is they have really fast processors and really slow processors. And the developers at Juice have been working very hard to figure out how to make things not use those slower processors, because when you have these different speed processors like this going like this, and you're doing audio sharing with, you know, Unify's multi-core savvy, you end up with mess. You end up with clicky stuff, and it's not doing this in an update we're working on to get to everybody. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we hope. We'll see how it goes, but just know that it's far more efficient CPU-wise for you guys. Here, let's do this. Maybe I'll just call it up as its own standalone. But anyway, we've unified all the patches. So you can go through and go to Unify layer, click additional pads to add additional layers to your existing pad. Sounds great. Right? It's also available as a standalone, as well as a VST and VST3 plugin. We're using the VST3 version of the plugin. Some really creative. It takes a second to load. And Paul, the mastermind behind Wavesequencer.com, he's doing tech support and working with everybody at Traction so that everybody's happy. Is this really cool interface where as you're going from patch to patch. Also, I thought it was really cool. He gives credit for the image, which is really cool. You can also click here to turn off animations or turn on. It's a simplified player, but each patch, as you can see, is going to have different parameters. I might click in the... what's happening here? So we go to the patch browser. We have patches here to choose. We can see ambient bells. And if you click the plus button, it will change. Notice the knob names change. Inside of Unify, we have it set up so that macro knobs 1 through 8 allow you to change the parameters. Let me see something really quick. Interesting. This is 1. Oh, okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So you have this now. To get the Unified library, there's a link in the video description for this video. It's also already on the Plugin Guru website. I should point out my own little humble website really quick. If you need inspiring patches, I kindly request you to consider coming to pluginguru.com. Turn off the view history thing here. Okay, go like this. No, don't always. Oh, why are you so difficult sometimes? Especially in a live stream. I show. Okay, this is just, there's a bug in Chrome. It's I don't get it. Okay. So anyway, this is the Traction Wavesequencer website. If we go to pluginguru.com, this is my website, pluginguru.com. There's like over 90 libraries for all of these different plugins. If you click any of these patches of mine, libraries of mine that have unified patches, virtually all of them are there. If you go to just the Unify patches, it will show you the unified patches. You can also see things by going to products and so forth like that. If you go to the Unified tab up here, it takes you to the Unify information page. Scroll down to the middle of the page and we start the list. And there's like now over 90 plugins that have been unified. And if you get down to Wavesequencer Thea, it's right here. And it says VST3 because we're using the VST3 version of the plugin inside of Unify. Click that. It will download from our Dropbox the library for it, which looks like, let's see, move this over here. Wavesequencer Thea. When you unzip it, it looks like this. And right here is the Unified Thea. You just drag it over the interface of Unify, and it will say, and I don't know why everything is so slow on this computer today. Oh, it's just sitting here waiting. And you say, okay, and it will install the library. Then you go over here to your directory tab, come down to Thea, and here it is for you to play. So you can click a patch. See all the different categories. I could say I want to add just instrument one only and add. Now the cool thing with Thea is because it's based on Hyperion, Hyperion has all these different forms of synthesis, including FM. The slowness of doing a live stream at the same time of showing stuff. But anyway, if you click here, you should be able to change patches. Go to, I want to go to FM. Okay, so go here. Here are your categories and so forth. So name, I'm going to go FM. So here now you can see all the FM patches, all sorts of cool things in here. So it's a player-only simplified version of Hyperion, giving you patches. I know he's, Paul, Mr. Wavesequencer, is already working on support libraries for this, so there will be more patches coming. It's going to have, he's all in on making it a really cool plugin. So if you need an inspiring wealth of over 587 patches, Hyperion's really cool. And Thea is a simplified version of it for everybody to play with. So check it out. Again, there's a couple places to go. I think, let me see here. If I go back to here, streaming, so I can see what's going on. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of you guys are already into it. Again, we've unified it, so it's here on the Unify page for you to enjoy. So there you go. To pick it up, I put a link at traction.com. Wavesequencer, is that where everybody goes? Or let's see, if you come here to the wavesequencer.com, this is his page. If you click Thea, you can go here and you can get it available at traction.com. So you click here, it will take you to traction.com where you can buy it. So he has information about it as his own website, but if you want to buy it, it's at traction.com, TRACKTION.com/products/Thea, or just go traction.com and it's at the very top of the page. Okay, so there you go, Thea. Well done, Mr. Wavesequencer. And it was nice to meet you at, I think it was Synthplex, like a year ago, a little over a year ago. Yeah, man, good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate very much. Okay, next up on the list, let's do an audio effect that just came out from our friends at Rob Poppin. Mr. Rob Poppin has been, let's see, robpoppin.com. He has low sane. And if you own Explorer, which if you guys are wanting synthesizers, this is an insane opportunity. This Explorer 8 bundle for $500 gives you 31 plugins. It's insane. All of these different synthesizers and audio effects, reverb, all sorts of wonderful things are included. Del Sane is a cool delay. There's Reese, is it what called? I saw it at the beginning of the page. Let's go back here. Rev Sane is a reverb, and now he has low sane. So he's all in this like insane, but with cool categorized things. Let's do this. Let's let's do this. Call up. Maybe not this sound. Let's try maybe a granular plex. No. Let's do this. Let's go to the standard library. Let's just call it like a piano, something that we know what it sounds like before we start to mess it up. Go to key. The Church Steinway. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the output effects. I'm going to right click so I get my search window, which is our new feature in 1.10. And we can say this is low sane, LOW. There it is, hit return. And immediately, and you can have it where you move this up and it returns back. Or you can set it to actually be moving, I believe, like lazy mode. Bring these down so it's less intensity. And it seems like a lot, but if we go here and find the wet dry, where's our wet dry? I haven't put, oh, here we go, right here. You can have it do small amounts. It's a really cool combination of filtering, bit, high pass, and a gate with modulation capabilities. These are for drums. You can hear it really snapping on the. See if we go over here to some of these, we can say like guitar. It's a really cool audio effect if you need modulated LFOs for lo-fi kind of a vibe and so forth. And it's available for $25. So it does some cool stuff. So Rob Poppin has added more to the catalog. If you own the Explorer series, you get Rev Sane, you get Del Sane, now you get Low Sane are all included in that bundle. So you have those to play with. It's not really trying to go for like tape simulators and so forth. There's a lot of stuff in here for drums. So let's show it with drums really quick. Let's go over here to something like lo-fi. So let's go Unif lo-fi. Go over here to BPM drums. Pop some sort of cool. And let's go over here and right click on the output and say low sane. Let's go hear these drums. So it's cool for doing motion rhythms. Right? Remember, that's what we started with. Just a little bit. It's kind of cool to change the character or something. Doesn't have to be 100%. Remember, with a lot of these effects, you can bring down, just use just a little bit to like alter it, give it some life and motion. It's really nice. Right? Okay. So that is Low Sane. It's available at robpapen.com. ROBPAPEN.com. I haven't put it in the video description, but I will after I get done with the live stream. I will not bore you with the process of doing that. The third effect to show you that has come out today, this week, is from Uilleann. And that is, they have reworked one of their first plugins. Now, I've been friends with Urs since before he started Uilleann. Actually, when he was just starting Uilleann. And this is during the time, there was a time, a lot of you guys might remember this, a lot of you might not, when there were no audio unit format plugins. It was only VST. And Apple had just introduced audio units. And there seemed to be a lot of confusion and complaining that it was really difficult to turn things from a VST into an audio unit. And I was having correspondence with Urs. He's in Berlin, Germany. So I had not met him actually until like maybe 3 or 4 years ago in person. But for like 30 years, we've talked back and forth and communicated. And he had, he's like, it's so easy. I don't know why people are freaking out over this. And he had Zoid was one of his first synthesizers that he did as he like learned programming the interface changes and stuff. And he sent me the version of Zoid that worked in Logic's audio units. And I remember playing with him going, yeah, it works. The dude's got it figured out. He's so smart. Oh, it's on Plugin Boutique too. Okay, cool. Well, he brought out a number of synthesizers after that. One of the early ones was Filterscape, which was one that had this really cool modulating EQ bands that could sweep through the sounds. And I tried to find, I didn't have time to put together, I really wanted to find the demo and I couldn't find it. I wish I would have found it. It's probably on my computer downstairs. I did an audio demo for Filterscape like 20 some years ago, 19 years ago. I guess it came out 19 years ago. That's when audio units were developed, like within the last 20 years. But I didn't find it to show. But we do have an updated version. He has not updated it in a while. And he was like, well, it's time to show some love to Filterscape. So Filterscape is available in 3 flavors when you buy it. It's available as a virtual analog synth, where you have each of the bands. And you can choose the type of bands you want to work with. And if you want, you can click here to choose how you want it to be modulated. And I don't remember all the settings to get it up and running. I haven't played with it enough in a while. But he has used that to make a really cool synth. And as you can see from the display, it has these different waveform. There's modulation happening because of this wheel, which is slowly spinning, and as it spins, it's moving things. So you can speed this up. I I think I'm calling them different snapshots. Again, I have not played with this in a while, I have to confess, but it's really cool. Right? We have not unified these patches yet. It shouldn't be too difficult. It's not that many patches in this library, although if you go to the presets tab, he does have access to all the version 1.0 patches, which there were more. And some of these really get carried away with it's a really interesting way of doing filter modulation to have this wheel, right? So it is available. Now the other places where it's available, let's call up a drum groove again. That's the same drum groove. We can go over here to the audio effects and say Filterscape. And there's two versions. There's Filterscape, which is 4 bands, and then there's Q6, which is 6 bands. So he has different, there's a squisher. I think he might have more of the motion stuff with the other version of Filterscape. Escape. Stuff like this is possible to add for rhythm. So it's fun. You can get some really cool stuff going on. So if you go down here to the list. And again, if you go to presets, I believe you'll find that you can get to the version 1 presets for this. Right? Modulating and dancing, all sorts of stuff. So it's a cool effect. It's a cool concept. It's great to see a new interface. I believe you added some new filter options to some of the bands. So when you go to the filter, you've got some new different filter types to choose from. It's good stuff. If you love Uilleann stuff, you'll love this. Hey, vendor. Let me see the chat really quick. Yeah, Filterscape is one of those that's been around a long time. Everybody talks about Zebra. Everybody talks about Diva, so forth. Those have gotten a lot of preset libraries. Somebody needs to make some really good preset libraries for this, because you can get into some really cool territory with this modulating filter thing. Back in the day, I made some patches that were really fun for it. Really dug into it. It's complex enough. It would take a little bit of time to learn how the snapshots, the concept behind this is kind of like his multi-delay plugin that he's brought out, MFM. Let's see, MFM. Let's see, we can go like this. Yeah, I don't have it here. Maybe he hasn't released the update. I'm part of his beta team, so he sends me betas of all the stuff he's working on. They've got. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Not going to say anything because there's other stuff, of course, they're working on. Everybody's always working on stuff, right? Oh, I should also point out, yeah, let's bring that to your attention. Korg has a series of plugins. And it's funny. There's one Korg synth that they have not turned into a plugin. I don't know if they ever will. If you go to Plugin Boutique, you can go to, as you see, there is now Korg at Plugin Boutique. And if you're on Plugin Boutique, that means you're going to get big discounts. That's why we're not there, because I'm not interested in discounting my products to the point that these companies do. But, and especially since they just brought everything on board, they have, you can get the Korg collection for under $300, which is a screaming deal. To get Poly 6, Mono Poly, all this, the list of instruments. Let's see what they have in their list here. Micro Korg, Electribe, the Chaos Pad Audio Effect, Mini Chord 700, really, really cool. Prophecy, Triton, ARP Odyssey, MS-20, Poly 6, Mono Poly, the M1, the Wave Station, MDEX, which is the effects section that was built into the Korg synthesizers as a separate plugin. These are available and they sound great. If we wanted to, let's see, let's go like this. Let's just say init. And if I go over here and say Korg, I have quite a few Korgs because I also have all the gadget plugins, which go quite a ways. But the ARP Odyssey is wonderful. I mean, all their synths. We are in the golden era of synths. You've got anything from Wavesequencer and new synthesis to the stuff the Korg's doing with the phones, really cool things. And the MS-700 actually is really fun. MS-700, where is, didn't I install it? I might not have installed it on this computer. On my other computer, I did. No, just the MS-20, which is also really great. So you got the ability to do the whole patching between all the different patch points. Right? Also be aware on the plugin boutique list is the new separate plugins that Korg has released, including Wavestation Native, which is right here. I have 2 libraries I've released. I have 2 more in the works. The nice thing with the version of Wavestation Native, there's a lot of this talk on some of the online forums and so forth that I watch and check out, and I contribute and talk to people every now and then. Inside of the hardware version of the Wave State, you're limited by the amount of user RAM. It's only, I believe, 4 gigabytes. Maybe even it's 2 gigabytes. It's very limited. You can't expand it. And that was the way Wave State was when it first came out. And I kind of held off on the libraries I wanted to release because of this. And they have worked hard to come up with a solution now to where you can choose your user sample banks folder. And wherever you put that is where you can now have multiple libraries way beyond the limit of gigabytes. And so if I go over here to the list, and if I go to like MegaMagic Dreams, which is one of the libraries that I've created, if I go here to collection, you can see there's MegaMagic, well, Bells and Winds I'm working on right now, and MegaMagic Pads, I think Volume 1 is the other one that I'm working on that will be coming out. But oh no, Pads Volume 2. I did MegaMagic Pads 1, which is done. This is it already available for the Wave State. So what's cool with Wave State Native is if you have the hardware version, you can get this from Korg for like $50 at the Korg.com website. And this gives you this wonderful interface to program with. And there's a lot of talk about, I wish there was a better, cooler interface inside of the Korg synthesizers. And this is far better than any interface you will ever get on a keyboard. Especially when you start getting into the more complex things of wave sequencing. Some of the bonus patches that I did down here are really cool with lots of evolution and wave. And if you go over here, let's see, how do I get to? So this is a wave sequence. Man, I haven't played this for a little while. I forgot. How do we get to the wave sequence page? It's a wave sequence, and here it is. I want to edit it, right? Oh, this is not good. So I forgot how to get to the wave sequence page. Anyway, there's a wave sequence editor that I don't seem to remember how to get into at the moment. So, oh, layer C. I'll just show layer C. Oh, here we go, wave sequence. Duh, it's the tabs up here. So you have this page here for editing the wave sequences, which is so much more powerful than inside of the keyboard. So you can do all these different things. Like I've got different layers and like we've got components for the pitch, the timing, what samples are being used. I could just click here to add additional steps, changes to be different waveforms, and be programming, doing far more stuff, far more easier than if I was trying to do this inside of the hardware unit. So so it's overview, you have the synthesis page for the filters, setup, zones, your effects, the global reverb and EQ. It takes me a minute to like realign myself with some new synthesizer when I'm going between all these different synthesizers. So I apologize for that. But it's very powerful. And to have the ability to see the wave sequences and so forth easily is wonderful. You can't get to this type of interface. So for on here, right, like C, wave sequencing on C, just click the C layer. And you can see it dancing and doing the wave sequence. Changing this is far easier than it is in hardware, trust me. So wave state native, it gives you the full functionality of the wave state hardware, but it's in software. And if I wanted to, I could save this patch, then I could shoot it over to the wave state hardware and play it live. So it's a really cool system that they have worked out. There's also mod wave. Go mod wave. This is another synth that Korg has done that's really cool with up to 4 oscillators. It's all sorts of wave shaping and so forth to get into cool forms of synthesis. If you go here and go to the authors, our friend Airwave has made some really cool patches for us. Yeah, wave sequencing is its own really unique form of synthesis. Maybe I will cover that in the future, but basically you're letting it change to different waveforms in time. And we actually can do a form of that inside of Unify. If you go to the standard library that comes with Unify and you type in WS up here, you will find all sorts of wave sequencing patches where I'm doing this is playing and cycling thanks to some MIDI effect trickery that we designed with Unify. We have 9 different layers and it's cycling between 8 different layers. And the bottom one is a pad. And if I wanted this first one to be a different sound, I could just go here and choose this to be a different sound. Maybe I want this to be up. This is actually more powerful than the sequencing in Korg's wave sequencing abilities because here I can go and I could add reverb. Let's add data verb just to this third little sound. Now it has reverb. Just that third. So in Unify, you can actually take wave sequencing farther in some respects than you can inside of the Korg synths. However, the Korg trumps everything because they have the ability to do this is one thing for changing what waveforms are being used, but then a whole different thing for doing the timing, which we're kind of doing in a way by just what we do inside of each of the things. But anyway, Polyphony is able to go higher in the software version. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's no difference in sound between the Wavestation hardware, native or hardware, because they are basically, it was software first, what we were working with to create it. So, like this one where there's a piano, and then inside of a Unify embedded layer, it's doing a similar thing where it's dancing through the different waveforms. With this last, let's say I want this to be really short. Right? So just that one segment, this is something you can't do in the Wavestate native even, is to change the envelopes of each component in a wave sequence. And then on top of that, add effects. So I could say I wanted to add distortion. Just that last hit. And then I want to add reverb. So let's go reverb. Let's say water verb. So that last hit has reverb. So I've been a fan of wave sequencing since I worked on the original Wavestation. The idea is just really fun to alter the waveforms to get different things happening. And so it was really fun to realize we could do that inside a Unify. The way we're doing it is MIDI box, in this case, is playing a pattern, and it's playing it polyphonically. So when I play notes, and then Polybox is just told that for each note that it gets, it just advances to the next MIDI channel for the next note. And then I'm doing some tricks with LFOs here on some of these parts, or how am I doing this? I have to study my patches to see what I did. So I'm not doing a, oh, you know what it is? There's a pump house right here. So if I turn off pump house, so MIDI box is going bum, 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 bum. Right? And if I choose a different MIDI pattern, like if I just cycle between, each time it gets a new note, it just cycles to the next layer. And so what you do, you have to do a little bit of math in your head and figure out how many timing events does this MIDI file have? Like, and then you would make layers that match that number. Like here, if we wanted to like really do this and figure it out, we would go bypass Polybox. So now it's going to only play on MIDI channel 1. Like it's a 2 major pattern or something like that, right? It's 4 majors. So let's just make it 1 major. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think it's 7. So you'd want to have 5, duplicate 1, but this allows me to advance a layer and advance the MIDI channel at the same time by using the duplicate. And so if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if I turn this on, no, let's see here. What's going on? Oh, I told Polybox, you have to go over here and tell it that there's now 7 layers. There. So I have now expanded my number of layers in Unify to accommodate this 1 major pattern. So it starts over on the downbeat at 1 again each time, right? Now at this point, each of these layers could be anything. I could go over here and say Thea. Let's have it play this part. So now, so we want to go over here and let's go find a pluck sounds. Let's say plucked. And we have all these patches. Let's use Space Kalimba. So now we've put Space Kalimba into. Oh. Let's see, we need to send out on MIDI channel 1. There. Be aware that inside of this list here, you have the MIDI channel you're sending to, and the MIDI channel that you're sending, that's listening to, and then it's transmitting out when it gets its event to talk to the plugin. And if I set it to anything other than 1, Thea doesn't hear it because it's not set to an omni mode. It's set to MIDI channel 1. So changes to MIDI channel 1. Let's find another patch. Let's get back to the browser list right here so we could say plucked. Let's take down an octave. And maybe this one here, let's say we want this to be filter escape. Escape. And let's get this to do something cool. There we go. So not only can you wave sequence and have it do cool things, each step of the wave sequence can be any plugin you own. So it gets to be incredibly powerful. So do a search for WS inside of the standard library, and there's all sorts of variations. That I spent many hours setting up. So these are templates for you to play with and then just start to explore. Go to each of these layers. You can see the little activity happening. This is one event, right? Take that one event, go to any other plugin you own. Say, let's use Abu Dhabi, which is from, that's from Korg's Gadget. Or don't. But you get the idea. So lots of fun. So yes, we do have quite a few of the Korg synthesizers unified, not all of them, but as Taylor has nicely pointed out, the M20. No, what's the M20? I don't think we did MS20. I don't know if we've unified that yet. But anyway, so good stuff there. So I was going to give you an update. We were going to talk about sample rates inside of Signs of Life, because one of the cool things with this library, so Signs of Life is coming out on the 28th. M1, not MS20. Right. This is a library that has environmental sounds that I recorded 5 years ago on a trip to Costa Rica. And they're really cool samples. And then I fed them through all sorts of different types of convolution. I use Logic Pro's convolution. Maybe I'll show you how that works. But it's really, really fun to take environmental sounds and then different sounds. For example, well, no, let's not do that. It gets too... I could show you. I'll show you. But I want to first show you the sample rate thing, because this is pretty... I'm even more stunned about the difference than I thought I would be. But I'm including in this special edition version for Unify the HQ, the original 192 kilohertz samples. So you can go to General Rain and Birds. This is it at 48K. Here it is at 192K. With me talking. Morning rain on our final day in La Fortuna. I'll actually get rid of the audio and stuff like that, but some of these... That's the 192K version. I think I started at the same point so I can show you the comparison. So, obviously at the original pitch, 48, 192. You can't really hear a difference when you play the original sample. If you take it down 3 octaves, listen to the aliasing, the high frequency stuff, and the noise. Now, here's the 192. No aliasing. .48 kilohertz. .192. Whoa. So you don't hear it, but actually that makes a difference even when played up high. But you really can hear it when you've slowed the sample down and you're starting to hear some of the resolution and the breakdown. Insane Rain, here it is. Sounds the same, right? Play it down low. And here's the 192. Totally different. When you're trying to do really cool cinematic, you're using this as like some sort of, like, if you want to use this in a film, right? So you're going to use it as a bed, like the spaceship noise or something like that that's behind a track. If you're using the 48K version, wait. Let's see, turn off this. Here it is, the 48K. 192. It's quite the difference, right? So there's times where you might want that to have a little bit more something that's going to go through it. There's other times where you don't want that. So in this library, I'm going to give you wherever I can, not on every patch because some of them didn't work out, but like right? So here it is at down 2 octaves. We'll just go 2 octaves. Here's morning 48K. And 192. Just smoother. It's kind of like 1080 versus 4K video. You know, when you're looking at it, there's just more information there instead of the computer trying to fill in the gaps. So in the perfect world, you know, every synthesizer sample database would be like 192 kilohertz samples. The reality is that would, you think hard drive space is a commodity now? It's 4 times the size. This library is going to be like 3 gigabytes in size just because these 192 kilohertz samples are 4 times the size of the one next to it. So here's a morning cow. Now this one I'm talking at the beginning of it. Right? And let me move the sample start on this because she might need to be milked. Some of these I think I got to go back and look for my original recordings because some of these I high pass filtered too for the final, like here. Oh no, I didn't. Right, Nyquist theorem, yeah. Yes, the logic, I apologize for that. There's it shouldn't be crashing. It's doing a thing with, well, that's a whole different thing. If you can write to us at tech support, who dares to record me snoring? If you guys want to Unify support at pluginguru.com or to our forums, forum.pluginguru.com, talk to us about what the issue is that's causing the crashing. There might be something we can suggest to help. You know, can't use Unify. Yes, yes. Okay. So the sample rate is it's a really nice thing to have the samples where I can find them at the higher quality. So like the rain. Again, at 192, this is why people don't include, and they're like, well, it's okay, we can just put 48K. But when you take this down low, this is so nice and smooth. Listen to the 48K version. It's got aliasing and so forth in it. There is actually, if class 09 is asking if there is a report that Unify creates. I think it's under crash logs. I don't recall off the top of my head what the name of it is, but there is that's like crash reports, crash logs, something like that the Apple OS has, where it can keep track of those types of crashes. Anyway, so the 192 kilohertz. Also, the other thing that's coming to this library that's fun is to take something like Max's Swarm. If the 192 kilohertz samples are better, why include 48K at all? Well, because it was an Omnisphere 2 library, I want to keep the samples that came with the Omnisphere 2 version in here. They're looped. They start at a certain point. They have their sound. It's, you know, the 192s, I think I'm going to loop them, but they might not be starting at the same point. And, you know, sometimes you want the high quality and sometimes you want the, you know, emulator 2 8-bit, you know, that aliasing thing to happen. So I don't mind including both instead of, you know, just, it's like, hey, you got rid of my original sample that I really loved this, I use it in my song and it did this thing that matched my track. And now this new version, it doesn't do that. I get email like that if I do something like that. So I don't want to do that. There must be, so Brightband is saying audio unit scan stops and restarts at 7% in the endless loop. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to skip whatever it was that crashed. If you can make a note of what it is that's causing it to crash when you're seeing the plugin list, it will show you the name of the plugin that was trying to work on, or maybe it was the one that completed, I believe, and so it's the one after that that's causing the crash. Remove it from your components folder to see if you can continue. That's typically what we recommend people to do. But the plugin scanner is supposed to skip things that are causing issues. All right, so we're gonna quit Unify standalone, and I'm gonna go over to Logic for this last little bit. We're gonna talk about drum programming for a bit. This is my master. Oh, let me show it to you inside of Unify really quick. So here, we'll go here. We can show it here. Get down here to the end of the list. And so call up Unify. Then Unify goes. Yeah, Hans, we're fixing that. It's not our fault. That has to do with juice and dealing with the processors, and it's something we're working very, very hard to fix. It won't be doing that for ever, I promise. We're trying. Okay. Yeah, I forget to do stuff like that too. We're working really hard. The Apple, thank you, Apple. We love you so much, but they like to screw things over and change things up on us. And we're working very hard to accommodate and work with, you know, do things that they want to do. And thanks. Wow. You know, so there's these grooves that came from MegaMagic Guitars 3, right? There's 25 of them. And they're listed here. I've gotten up to 16. So if we go to 15, there's a skip one that's got a groove. 14. Well, there's a drum kit. The original Signs of Life SE has all these really cool sounds. Even some vocal samples. So I'm using this to make drums. Let's see, I need to rescan this. So let's go like, I probably should just put one button. Yeah, so yeah, as you try to scan plugins using this. Oh yeah, that's a great solution. Taylor's on it. If you want to just make sure you scan certain plugins inside of Unify, say that you're trying to scan the audio units and it keeps crashing, go to select files to scan, and you can go to the components folder, and you can even select multiples by holding down shift and then just scan those. And you could whittle down the list to where you try to scan something and it crashes, then you know that's the bad one. Or you could just use this as a way of just choosing the plugins that you want by holding down Command. You could select just the plugins you want to scan and hit open, and then Unify will scan those, and then those are now available as audio units. So you can use the selective instead of just using the global scan. You can also just drag in from the Finder too as well. Okay, so now if we go to the list, we'll see that we now have some BPM drums. These SE fold, these are the just working names. They will be named differently for the final version. But I have made the groove. This is the drums from guitar version. And then let's load this to a separate layer. This is the drum groove that's made to complement they play each other very nice. Again, you'll see the CPU meters flying all over the place. We're working hard to fix that. Right? So I'm gonna go to like 2. If I go over here and I say load the SE full groove, just this layer. So I'm making drum grooves to complement the drums from guitar grooves. So 3. Right? So today, I thought it'd be fun. I wanted to do this as a live stream this week, and I was not able to get it to happen. I just had all stuff going. So here are the grooves that have been done. As you can see, if I, let's see, mute this one down here, mute. So I can play Coming Home. This is the MegaMagic, this is from MegaMagic Guitars 3, the drums from guitar. And then here's Coming Home. Here's Coffee Cup. Right? So, I need to make some more of these. And I thought it'd be a good chance to talk to you guys about drum programming, maybe share a couple tips. So, I'm at number 17, which is holding hands. Let me do this. I'm distorting just a little bit. So, I'm going to bring these guys down like 4 dB. Now, one of the tips I wanted to share that I've noticed in a lot of the demos, I get sent demos all the time. A lot of people, when you're doing drum programming, you call up a kit and then you just play different sounds, different elements at different times. It's best to like pick out the sounds that you want to use for, think of it this way. Think of drums as low, mid, and high. This is just simplified. You can go out of this if you want. And pick out elements that are in the low frequency you want to use, in the mid frequency you want to use, high. Low being obviously the kick, right? If you do something beyond the kick, make sure that it fits into the mix with bass and everything else in your track. You don't want to add too much low, and you want to make sure the low has frequencies that if you're playing it as a mix on your iPhone, that you can hear the kick. It's not just gone because it's so low that it's not there. But pick out elements, because if you're watching a band and the guy's standing there and he's playing a shaker, he's not playing a shaker for one thing, and then he's playing a triangle, and then he's playing a cowbell, and then he's playing that's not how a drummer works. Percussion is sitting there, he's getting into his shaker part. He might be playing on something else every now and then for an accent or something with a stick or something like that. But it's not one of these things where you just like. So when we're playing this, we want to pick out what kind of kick. And I kind of like, if we call up Unify, I kind of map this keyboard so that there's low frequencies down here. Then you get into like some of there's these cool drum loops that I'll be included with the library. These are all the elements from those drum grooves that I created. And then you get to snares. And then you get to the high frequency things. So toms, that'd be considered more like mid frequency. And then here's like congas and so forth. So I have these elements to work with. And you just want to find one thing and not. You don't want to do that. You want to find just one drum and then use that. It's very boring. But at the end of it, you're going to end up with a nice professional sounding mix by doing this. So when you call up a drum kit, play around it. Like in this case, if it's a song, you listen to your song. In this case, I have this groove I need to complement. So right? So I need to go, I want to create some, I don't know something to like, you don't want to like overstep it. You want to find something that's going to complement. So right? So I've added a simple part. Now I tend to like to do drums on separate tracks for the different elements. So I have extra tracks. If I need more, I can go like this. Now I need to find, I'm going to turn off record for a second. This is not a traditional drum kit. I don't have hi-hats. I have vocal samples. That'd be fun. So let's go on. Right? So also notice I'm in the similar velocity range for it. I'm using quantize, I think, on auto right now. So I can select these guys and go to the strength. I can bring them down. Some of the stuff inside of Logic that I love that I haven't really found that you can do elsewhere is to be able to go into selective areas. If I want just the snare to be a little bit looser, I could go here to my strength and bring it down to 0. So now the snare is not quantized, but everything else is. So these are the tools that make it so I haven't really been happy working with other sequencers because they don't have, at least I've learned how to work this way, right? So I'm familiar with how this works. let's find something else. Okay, I was recording. I didn't want to be recording, so. Right? So I like to do drum programming. There's a couple ways to do it. You can go and play it live, but then you really can't focus on just the sound you're doing. And if you notice for this shaker or the tambourine part, I want to get the dynamics right. So I had a little bit of, if I turn off solo. So the other recommendation I have, think about the instrument, how you traditionally hear it being used. Because there's, let's say, another way to use a tambourine would just be to be accents on the snare, right? So try a different version. So that's another way to use a tambourine. Typically, it's either hits or else they're doing a rhythm, right? Because you. So we could do an eighth note rhythm. So another way to, like, I think this needs more of that kind of a rhythm. And I kind of like how that turned out, doing one pass for the hits and then another one where I filled in and I just didn't play the hits again. So let's see if we get this like this. I'm going to hit Command J to join that all together. I could add some bongos if I wanted to. I've got some. I also have some. Maybe I want to add, these claps are nice. I could do a simple thing like take the, and then go here to velocity, bring these down. So I'm just bringing down the velocity of the claps. Yeah, I like that. Other things that are cool with Logic is if you hold down Option on the velocity, you can use this. Say that there's a whole bunch of different velocity dynamics. The other thing that's a really important tip, you want the dynamics of each part to kind of be consistent. If it has a certain accent point, you know, if you can have fill points and stuff, but things that are accenting, you want them to accent about the same level. It's really a problem if you're working on a song, then you're going to have all these other components in it and stuff like that. If engineers hate this, because what happens if you have the dynamics being too dramatic, the tambourine or that clap, if this velocity was down low, right? It's going along, you hear it nice in the mix, and then all of a sudden it's missing. It's like, I've been in sessions where engineers are like, wait, what happened right there? Because the dynamics are not consistent, and it doesn't have to be precise, but to be in the same kind of range, you're going to have sounds disappearing from the mix. So for drum grooves, a lot of times you want to have consistency for what it's doing. And since these are grooves that you're going to be playing to, I have down here on this last part right here, Unify here. Say I would have, a lot of times when I'm building drum grooves, I also have another track with a sound that I can play. Whether it's a pad or keyboards or, you know. So you make sure your groove works. So let's this. Let's have some fun. You guys want a MegaMagic Guitar Volume 3 bonus patch? Let's make one. Start with a dark guitar. Maybe we'll go over here. Let's use the Dreaming 12 string, which is kind of a, let's say. Let's put a pad over this. Let's take one of the MegaMagic pads, those really cool elements. Let's use Granular Church Looped. Let's add that. I think I can just add layer 1. And I'm going to do a fun trick I like to do sometimes. I'm going to add a second pump house. I could even add more because there's another element I kind of want to have. So let's go into Guru Sampler and let's use this LFO. Let's say we want to be set to quantize to notes, the 16th notes. And let's, for our shape, say custom and amp. Come a little bit 16th. And then if I wanted to, which of course I do, I want to go over here to delay, chow matrix, pan left and right. And let's set this, instead of being free, let's set to sync so that, let's have the dry be much louder than the and I think I want something to be dancing around. And I think FM would be nice. So let's go over here to instruments. This is where I love these presets that you can make. Let's go to DX and I'm gonna go to the plucked bank. So I've added a DX7 to my mix. And let's go over here to Unify Standard, Arpeggiator. Let's use the blue arp. And I'm gonna, again, push random a whole bunch of times, just. And then what I do is go to step type and make it all random. So this way it's looking at notes that I'm playing. And let's go to DX and go to the cart. There's 32 plucked patches here I can choose. That's cool. It kind of sounds broken, fragile, like out of there. Yeah, I'm just using. I'm on an Apple Studio, 32 gigs of memory, using Ventura 13.52. Now, I want to like drench this a little bit. So let's go Unify Standard, delay. Maybe instead of this busy pattern, let's go over here to the keys. Step, make it eighth notes. That way I can hear the delays a little bit better because there's some gaps. That's nice. Let's try this. Let's mute the drum groove. And let's go to another one of the grooves that I've created. Not that one. Let's try counting chickens. Okay, so hi Secret. So I am showing the drum grooves that I am making for Signs of Life. And then I decided to make a bonus content patch for MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3 Bliss. So this patch I'm going to give you guys in a second. And then what I'm doing, keep that so we can still play it for a second. I have these grooves that are two elements. Element one is the drums from guitar for MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. I'm including that in Signs of Life because I really like these elements and I wanted to explore them farther. Taking this, and then there's the Signs of Life samples. When I originally did that library 5 years ago, I added all these extra drums as a bonus contact instrument you could load if you wanted to. Omnisphere couldn't make the kit because it could only be one sample. Well, I can do that whole kit in Unify. And so I'm making a separate layer. Right? So I'm making these patterns that will be included with the library. So I'm kind of showing you guys some of the library building in process. Now, I wasn't recording at the time, but one nice thing with this right here is capture. Hello, is this capture? I think that's capture. Yes. Capture recording allows you to get back something you played without the record on. Let's add a little shaker. And I'm gonna go over here to the quantized strength. So these are grooves. So I wanted to just share a little bit of advice about picking out instruments, about the dynamics of the instrument parts that you play, and about finding things that are cohesive. Oh, wait, I don't want to unmute. I want to join, Command J. So I can mute this, and here's the original. That's the drums from guitar. And then I'm making these complementary guys. Right? So that's where the drums are coming from. Is there any way or grid for users to pattern drums out with Unify? Not inside of Unify, no. You could use the piano player roll or the step sequencer or all the different options here inside of, let's see if I don't have this here. I don't think I can set this to the step sequencer. But you know, yeah, you've got sequencing modes and stuff inside of Logic to view from if you program that way. I just played on the keyboard. I'm not one for doing grid type stuff for the most part. Many people are these days, but I'm old school, and that's how I've done it since I was 15, you know. Will these be the full grooves or... Okay, so these grooves are for Signs of Life. The drums right here are already inside of MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. So I don't mean to confuse you guys. I'm kind of like talking about two libraries, and then I'm making a guitar at the same time for a bonus patch. So I'm sorry if I'm confusing you guys. But here, let me save out this bonus patch that I made you guys, which is a nice piano with a little rhythmic element. Now that could, I'm just, that FM layer is bugging me just a little bit. So if I go over here to, let's do a little, let's look at DX real quick. Yeah, it's probably this guy. There's these detuned elements. We play. Hear that kind of broken element there? Just a little bit of that. Now, yeah, I apologize on my part too, because I tend to get carried away with what I do here sometimes. Okay, so let's save this out so you guys can recover. Oh no. There is this crash that happens sometimes. I might have just lost. Oh wait, let's see if. Nope, I think I lost it. Yeah, I lost it. Shoot. Well, sorry. There is this bug that does this crash recover thing sometimes. I don't understand it. We're working to isolate and nail that down so it doesn't do that. The MIDI file stuff still works. Yeah, Steve, that's make sure you email all that to Unify support@pluginguru.com so Taylor can talk to you and help you figure out what's going on. Sorry, I lost that patch. Went to Data Heaven, which I have lots of patches in Data Heaven. It happens from time to time. So I apologize. That was going to be a nice sound, but it's not here. Oops. I agree. Anyway, well, we're going to wrap up for the day. But anyway, that's how we do the drum programming part. I hope I gave you guys some suggestions on your own drum programming. Let's do one more. Then we'll be out of here. So here's another one I have. I don't even know what this is yet. So let's play it. Hey, Lab. Big E. It's good to see you a couple days ago, man. That's a good hang. Okay, well, we're working to fix that, Hans. That's something that the Juice team is working on. We're supporting with him. That was a great hang, bro. Good to see you, bro. All right, so let's add a drum groove. I love this tambourine kind of sound that sounds like a hi-hat, so it's, you know. All right, so let's do it, man. So there's lots of ways to do it. Like that one, I played everything at once instead of just the separate elements. There's no set rules how to do drum programming. It just depends on your comfort level. But if you're starting new, it's really great just to pick one instrument. Maybe I just want this to be a little color accent every now and then. So all you need, just a little something to get your interest. And what's fun is if you do consistency, except for the fourth measure, do a little bit of extra something. And I'm gonna select these guys and bring their quantizing down a little bit. But listen right here at this fourth measure. There's just a little bit of fill happening on the bongo part. I just got a little bit more carried away. We get right here. Oh wait. A couple extra 16th notes in there just to give it a little bit more ear candy. So that's done. So let's join those guys. So here's without it. The idea being that you'll be able to use like this for like the beginning of a song. And then when you're ready for like the verse or the choruses. Bum, bum, bum. Right? Right? So these will all be inside of the Signs of Life library. If we get down here to the full library, I have put some in already. Let's see, let's go to Unify. If we go to Signs of Life SE right here, you'll see that there are the drums from guitar full. So you can call up, right? And then there, again, these are not the final names. These will all be, it's kind of like I'm taking the drums from guitar, from MegaMagic Guitars 3, and I'm like taking that to another level for Signs of Life, because I want to add a drum groove to these. So you have a, right? It just adds to it. Really, really cool element. So I'm doing this to all 25 of the grooves from drums from guitar. I named them all when I made the drums from guitar groups. They're Most Delish, Lofi, Skippy Zip, all this kind of stuff. So those names will be in the final for the library. I've got 2 weeks still to work on the library. It will be coming out on the 28th, a week from this Thursday. So I wanted to have enough time to like, I pretty much got all the sounds here. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to show you. So we're going just a little bit late. The last thing in the library that's really, really, really cool, to make it the special edition, there's all these really cool pads. Like if we go here to like Galaxy Octave, oh, here, let's see. I'm going to try to find one of these where I had, because a lot of these are this. So down here, these textures, These are like 1 or 2 minute audio files of the original sessions that I did with my modular synth and plugins that I then would pull out just a piece of to make the patches up here. So if you like, go to, is it Galaxy Purist? I think this one is here. No. Carpal Clouds. I think I did some Carpal Clouds, right? Yeah, Carpal Clouds. So here's Carpal Clouds. And I just pulled out this little snippet and looped it for the original Omnisphere library because I couldn't include all the long files. It's just going to be too big in memory. And also I did some weird things sometimes with some of these textures. But I'm giving you the full length. These, you just play a note. I have to tune them. This is all this that I recorded that I then found the piece of to turn into what you heard earlier. But now you get the full length audio files for all of these things. If you go close brother. And something like this is really cool. When you play it down low, it's still going on. Down a couple octaves, it gets really, really cool. There's a video on YouTube of me making one of these. So if you want to see the process a little bit, with the full length textures that you can use in any way you want. This is all one sample, just goes on and on. You can play them on the keyboard as if they're just the full sample, but now it's like a 2-minute long thing of texture changing, sometimes pitch changing, all sorts of stuff changing. Like this is Cyclones. Let's see if we can see a Cyclone up here. Yeah, so here's Cyclone. That Cyclone came from one of these 3 sessions that I did. With just a little piece of it and then looped. And here it is full length. So really, really cool. It's really, really fun to include. It's just because we have inside of Unify, we can do more. We're in the world where people like gigabytes of samples. So this gives you some fun things in a different format. I haven't done many of these before where I give you full length files that are like more than just 10, 15 seconds and then looped. So these will be included in the library. You go all sorts of really cool places because I'm doing stuff in real time with knobs, all sorts of stuff like that. So that will be coming to this library as well. I'll be doing some programming where I use these to have it be this cool rhythmic evolving thing that just it doesn't do something that's repeatable over time, you know, because it's a longer audio file. So that'd be really fun. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out for all this. Sorry for the loss of the bonus patch. That's unfortunate. Hasn't happened like that before, but it can happen. Cool, Hans. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys. So shout out. Let's do our shout outs. Shout out from Portland. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Next week, we'll continue our explorations. We'll look at new plugins that come out in the coming week. Hey, Music Recording Network. Hey. The Netherlands. Just in time to do your shout out before we leave. Sunny Portland. Hey, Lab. Yeah, you're over in the east side, though. Or the west side. You're west of me. Hey, good to see you, Helsinki, Finland. No, Lab, that was really fun, man. Thank you again for that evening. Helped you get some of your system set up with your computers, so hopefully you're going to be writing. I got him into Unify. He has some libraries in different places that weren't working, and they're working now. We played with chill guitars and stuff like that. Good stuff. Good hang. All right. Oh, cool. We got Madison, Cambridge, UK, Wales. I am in pristine mode. Cool. Cool. Glad to see it, man. Glad to see it. Well, thank you all. Take care. We'll see you next week. Again, there will be new plugins coming this week, I'm sure. So we'll have all sorts of fun stuff to play with, as well as Unify. So if you have ideas, send us a suggestion to unifysupport@pluginguru.com. Unifysupport@pluginguru.com. Taylor will probably pop it up there. I need ideas for what you'd like to see for one topic tips. I want to help do some more single topic videos and so forth, but let me know what you would like to see. What could I help you guys with Unify? Okay. And then I know some more things to do. Hit the thumbs up before you go. That's always appreciated. Thank you. And we will see you next week. All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a creative week, and we'll see you later. Okay.